big weekend ahead, and great challenge for our team. Great opportunity. Obviously, no game is more important than what we have tomorrow night against Harvard. But I think we've had a good week of preparation for both opponents, Harvard and Dartmouth, and we're gonna have to play really well. Both teams came into our building earlier in the year. Harvard kind of just outplayed us, outworked us, dominated us for 40 minutes, and won by double figures. Dartmouth, came in here and really scored the ball too easily. We had a decent offensive game, and we're in control for most of the game, but couldn't. Couldn't put the game away because we couldn't get defensive stops. So, I think we're a much better team than we were earlier in the year in both of those games. But I think both of these teams that we're playing probably feel the same way. So, exciting weekend ahead, huge opportunities for everybody involved, and I think we're having a good week. I know we'll be ready, and we expect great challenges from each opponent.
Mike, just what's the feeling this week with you guys in practice, knowing that, hey, I mean, every weekend's important now, but a lot on the line here and a lot to play for.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, what more could you ask for, right? The opportunity to go to two great venues, two great campuses, play against two really good programs, and know that you don't have to scoreboard watch at all, right? There's a clear path ahead of us. Obviously, the elephant in the room is Ivy Madness, and we want to play in that tournament. And as of right now, we don't need any other help. We just need to win our three games, one at a time. Today's the most important day. Have a great practice, finish up our prep for Harvard, and then one game at a time, honestly, one possession at a time. But as of now, we don't have to worry about any other results. So that's exciting, and the feeling is great. The guys are, I think they're excited, and I think that they're preparing accordingly. We've been in some high stakes games before, and these will be some high stakes games.
Just looking back at that first matchup with Harvard, obviously the turnovers were, a huge part of that game, but, what are some of the other things that you look back at and say, like, gosh, we're kicking ourselves and we want another shot at this team?
Well, I think they deserve all the credit. They outplayed us. They were the harder playing, tougher team. They turned us over. They dominated us in the paint. We couldn't score easy at the basket. We gave up way too many paint touches and offensive rebounds. And yeah, like all the effort stats, Harvard dominated us. And so uh, I don't think, I think they're a hard team to play against. They disrupt you. They try to get into you. They try to switch a lot. They deny. They pressure. And if you don't handle it well, that can happen. So I think we'll be more equipped to handle it tomorrow night. But I'm quite sure that they're working on some things that they think they can do against us tomorrow night too. So um, we'll see what happens.
I think we've talked about it before too. But when you have the ability now that Dabo has developed into, what he's become this season, that those times in the game where you can put Dabo and Landon Lewis on the floor together, just, how much do you, like having that on the floor, that matchup, and what can it do for you?
Yeah, it allows us to play the way we've played here for so many years with two physical, athletic, versatile front court players. Just obviously that's what we envisioned all year this year, and obviously things happened, and we weren't able to put that lineup out there much. We just don't have the depth in our rotation, front court rotation, to do it for 40 minutes. And then obviously each of those guys have missed multiple games this year, so now you're even thinner. But that's what we want to be. We want to be physically imposing. We want to be able to defend our rim and protect our paint. And playing those two guys together helps us do that. So I think Dabo's development has allowed us to play that lineup more. But there's still going to be a lot of times of the game where we're playing four guards, and we've got to be able to protect our paint and defend the rim when we have that lineup out there too.
Coach, how much was Aaron Cooley's presence this past weekend a factor for your team? Given that he had injured the shoulder the week before and his status was uncertainty, it seemed like the team kind of fed off the energy of just having him out there.
Yeah, it was inspiring. Obviously, for those who don't know, he hurt his shoulder against Penn and was uncertain. honestly, it was doubtful that he would play last weekend. And I think Aaron understands the situation and the moment and where we're at, and he wants to be out there, and he's obviously not 100%, but he wants to be out there and he wants to try to help our team. And boy, did he help our team! I thought he was terrific, not only just being on the court, but impacting both games last weekend in a real positive way. So. Yeah, he's a big part of our team. He's our emotional leader. With Nana out, he's our vocal leader as well, and I think everybody really responds to his energy in a real positive way.
Hey, Coach. Is there something you can point back to over these last 2 weeks that, one thing, maybe two things that you feel has been kind of crucial to the turnaround here?
Well, we're taking much better care of the basketball. We're scoring in the paint, and we're doing a decent job protecting the paint. If you look at points in the paint and you look at our assist to turnover ratio and a lot of our wins, um, going back to the non-conference, we've won those stats in most of the games we've won. Early in the Ivy League season at Yale, at Harvard, at Princeton, I'm sorry, home against Harvard. Um, we got dominated in those areas. And now some of it Landon didn't play, right? There was this 3 game stretch where Landon doesn't play, and I don't think it's any coincidence that our points in the paint go up significantly when he's out there, and our points surrendered in the paint go down when he's out there. So I would say those stats, I think we're more comfortable. Obviously, second time around playing everyone, you have a little better feel of, Keno's so unique, Ben, right? Like everyone guards him differently, but like you have to have a plan for how you're going to guard him. So, I think, we can adjust on the fly in games, but then when you have the second time around and you see how teams have guarded him and guarded your actions, maybe you can look to take advantage of some things. And I thought we'd done a pretty good job with that. And, obviously our defense, other than the Cornell game, our defensive efficiency in each of these past 4 games has been pretty good.
You mentioned that, obviously going on the road this weekend, two tough venues, but you've played pretty well, especially at Harvard over the last couple of years. Is there something about the building? It's not often you sort of are able to put together kind of a road winning streak in Ivy League games, but you've managed to do it with Harvard. Is there something in particular about the either the matchups or the building that you feel like suits you guys?
I think it's a fair question, but I don't have an answer. It's a hard place to win, and I don't think that we're comfortable there any more than we are anywhere else. For years, we never won there, so like it's yeah, I don't have a very good answer for you. I just know that our team sometimes plays a little bit better on the road, a little more inspired for whatever reason. So obviously, we're hoping for that this weekend.
Well, how about this one? I think you'll probably have a good answer for this one. There's a number of your guys that have taken a big step up in production this year. And we know with players, development isn't always like a linear process, right? There's ups, there's downs. But what does it say when obviously not out for the year, but you've got so many guys who really have taken on a significantly increased role, whether it be in the rotation or even just pure scoring, to be able to get that from so many different players this season.
Yeah, I would just say it's our culture and it's the people we have here, which obviously are the biggest reason for our culture. It's how we've recruited, it's how we've built our staff. And it's what we hang our hat on here more than anything else is improvement over the course of your career for anyone who wants to be part of it. It's not easy. We demand a lot out of these guys and understanding they have a lot of other commitments on campus, but we demand an awful lot and tell them that up front. If you want to be part of something that's going to be hard, but you're going to get significantly better, then this is the place for you. And you look at obviously Landon and AJ and Aaron and Lindell, our upperclassmen, how much better they've gotten over the course of their time. Keno too. I mean, Keno was really good right away, but he's way better now. Dabo, Malcolm Risby Jefferson, Adrian, all of our sophomores are really hitting their stride. So it's our culture, it's our people, it's what we really pride ourselves on. And I think my staff, like just loves first of all, our players love being with my staff, outside of practice time. I've got a bunch of, guys who just love being in the gym. Tyson Wheeler, Matt Loddick, Sam Hirschberger, Devin Price, and then our players love being around them. So it's a big part of who we want to be, and we want to continue to find guys that want to be part of this environment.
Last one for me, just out of that group, is there anyone who you would say, look, I knew they were going to get better. I didn't know they were going to get this much better in general or this much better this quickly, maybe in the case of a guy like Landon.
Yeah, I'll talk about Landon because you brought him up. I mean, we thought he'd have a huge role this year. We thought him and Nana would be, with Dabo off the bench,
Mm.
and some other guys we have in the front court would be once again maybe one of the best front courts in the Ivy League. And obviously Nana, his absence has meant Landon has gotten even more opportunity and more responsibility pushed on him. But he's one of the most driven workers I've been around. Like if he wants to be good at something, he's going to be really good at it. And he loves basketball. He comes from great bloodlines. His dad was a longtime pro and has been a coach. And so, like, yeah, Landon has been raised extremely well. He's extremely driven, and he's got some physical gifts. You put all those things together, and you have a guy who's obviously playing at an extremely high level. Good.
Coach, I'll just add one more. Just on the Harvard front, facing off against them early in Ivy season. It's been 9 games since then. Harvard, a team that has a lot of young talent. Seeing them on film, does anything look different compared to 9 games ago with this Harvard team as they've grown?
Well, I thought they were pretty good 9 games ago. But I think, it starts with Tommy and his staff. And, obviously they recruit really talented kids, but then I think he's a master in terms of getting guys to play really, really hard and unselfishly and together. So, I think Evan Nelson and his presence as a senior guard is significant. But then, I think and there's a lot of talent around, but like Chandler PJ to me is just like, I mean, he's the rock. You know what you're getting from him, his effort, his toughness, his versatility at both ends of the court. And I mean, they've got highly, highly recruited players throughout their roster, right? Whether it's Adam Hinton or, Batiz or Lesmont. I mean, those guys were all highly, highly sought after, and you can see why, right? So while they don't have the lineup that probably everyone expected with Mac and Akpara not being there, they still have a ton of talent, and they're extremely well coached, and they've got a culture of we're going to play really, really hard. We're going to play really, really well together and unselfish basketball. And you can see the growth, throughout the year. So we know it's going to be a huge challenge. And we know that they're playing at a really high level too. They've won 3 out of their last 4. They just had a great road win at Princeton, at Penn, and obviously swept the home weekend the weekend before. So great challenge awaits. Really exciting opportunity for both programs. And I'll let you guys call it an elimination or a play-in game or a play-out game or whatever it is. But I know it's going to be fun tomorrow night.